Greetings, Professor Nalepa here with Dubspot.com. We are back with another series of tutorial videos. I've had some requests to show a real-time vocal gating technique. How would you make stutter edits and live gating? So let's take a look at a new technique. What we're going to do here is we're going to work with a vocal. Let's take a listen to the source material. So this is a vocal part from the lovely Hannah Kim, one of my very talented former students. I've already applied the reversed reverb technique I showed in tip number 7. If you need a refresher course on how to do that, all of our videos are up, posted on the blog or on our YouTube channel. So what we're going to do is we're going to take this vocal, this source vocal, and we're going to gate it at some fraction of the tempo that the project session is going at. Okay? In order to pull this off, we're going to utilize one of each of the 3 different types of Ableton Live built-in devices. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to go into Instruments, and it doesn't matter what sound you pick, just probably want to grab something that's a little low on the CPU, and we're going to grab just a basic acoustic piano sound. And so when I hit a note there, you can hear it's just a very simple piano sound. Next, we're going to drop an arpeggiator effect on there. So you can either grab this arpeggiator and drag it, or if you have this track selected, you double click on it, it'll automatically put it on there. Okay? Now when I hold a note down, it's playing arpeggiated at a rate determined here. So right now we're listening to an 8th note. If I were to speed it up a little bit, make a smaller value, you got 16th notes, and as you go and increase the rate, that note is triggered less often. Okay? So now that we have that, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to go into our audio effects, and we're going to grab one of the 3 effects that utilize side chaining. There's 3 different built-in effects that use side chaining. One of them is the gate. The other 2 are the auto filter and the compressor. So gate normally is used in the following way. You have a threshold level. If the audio on this track is louder than the threshold, you will hear it. If it's not louder than that threshold, it goes to silence. However, it is important to be careful where you set the threshold. You want to make sure you don't cut off the ends of the original audio signal. So by setting the threshold in the right place, you can actually maintain the original signal, but also get rid of the extra noise in those areas that are supposed to be silent. So if it's silent, it should be totally silent. So this is a nice way to do that. And I usually set the bottom here down from -40 by default down to -infinity, so that when it's not above the threshold, it's actually not in the mix at all. This is the value, and if we open up this, it tells you this is the amount of attenuation when the gate is closed. So at -infinity, a closed gate will mute the input signal completely. Okay? That's just working with it as a normal gate. Now, we're going to open up this little sidechain section and turn sidechain on and choose the audio from the acoustic piano. If you need a little refresher course on sidechaining, just want to remind you that we produced a 3-part video series on sidechaining. You can find these videos on the Dubspot blog or on our YouTube channel. In essence, if an effect is utilizing sidechaining, what's happening is the volume level of a signal on another track is driving the effect on this track. So in this instance, we're taking the level of the acoustic piano, and when that goes louder than the threshold, then we'll actually go ahead and hear the vocal coming through. All right? So if we didn't have side chaining on, you'd only hear the vocal when it was louder than that threshold. But now what we're doing is when the piano goes louder than the threshold, that allows the vocal to come through and we hear it. Now, we don't need to hear the acoustic piano in the mix, so let's turn that off. So basically this is a ghost track that we're just using as the source for the sidechain. And so we don't have to hold note down the whole time. Let's double click here, and we're going to just draw in a 1-bar MIDI clip. So it doesn't matter what the note is, I'm just going to draw in a C3. So now what happens is when I hit play on here, we can see that it's going through and triggering it, but we're not hearing anything. Why is that? So let's double click on the audio track here so we can see the effect down on the track. And you can see that the piano is being triggered, but it's currently not louder than the threshold. So the way the sidechain gate works is when the audio from another track is above that threshold level, you're actually going to hear the audio on the track where the gate is. So if we pull this threshold down a little bit, find that sweet spot. If the threshold is set too high, we don't hear anything. If the threshold is set too low, it's a continuous stream of signal. At the right spot, we get that gated effect that we're looking for. And if we change the rate here, you can hear that it changes the rate of the gating. Okay? Alright, so the next step with this would be to actually go through and we can map this rate to a fader or a knob on our MIDI controller. So I'm going to go up here and click on the MIDI button, and now anything that turns highlighted can be mapped. So let's go and click on the rate, and then we're going to just turn a knob on our MIDI controller, and you can see the value shows up and it notes the MIDI mapping here. So when I get out of the map mode, and the shortcut for this is Command M, now when I turn this knob, you can see the rate is going, but it's going all the way from 1 bar down to 128th note. That might be a little extreme because it really gets into the good stuff once you get about a 16th note rate. This is just a little bit slow at the whole note, so I would probably say quarter note down to 16th note would be nice. Now, what I can do is if I go back into the MIDI map mode, you can see here they have a minimum and a maximum value, and we can adjust these so that the minimum amount will be 16th note and the maximum amount will be a quarter note. So now when I get here and I turn this knob all the way to the right, it only goes to a quarter note. I turn all the way to the left, it goes down to 16th note. All right? Another thing you can do here is you have this sync button, and what I can do is I can click that, and now it goes to a free time, and you can adjust the rate as an amount of milliseconds that is not actually synced up with the project tempo. And if I try turning the same parameter that was mapped to the rate before, notice it's not affecting it. And the reason is that when you're in free mode, it actually uses a different mapping for the rate. So if I go to MIDI map mode, I click on the rate there, and I'm just going to turn a different parameter. Now you can see that shows up there. And now if I turn this guy, so you can get some nice super trippy effects working with this. Okay, another thing that would be really helpful is to be able to map the on and off button for the gate to a button on your MIDI controller. So I'm just going to go back to MIDI map mode, click on here, and I'm just going to hit a button. Now I'm working with an Akai MPK25, and the buttons, they have certain buttons on here that are momentary, which means when I hold the button down, the gate turns on. When I let go of the button, the gate is off. So this is very useful if you want to just have it so that the gate function happens only when I hold the button down. Okay, so maybe we'll switch back here from free to sync mode, and you could map this to another button on your controller as well. Alright, so there's a lot of creative possibility, and this doesn't have to just be used on vocals. You can use it on synths, you can use it on a full song, for example. And get some really nice stutter gating effects. It works well for a fill. And then boom, you're out, you let the track go. Alright. So have fun with this. Remember, you just need to put some sort of instrument here. Put the arpeggiator, you can map the rate to a MIDI controller. Turn off the source track. Put a gate on the track with the audio. Set the threshold such that the actual triggering sidechain source is above it barely. And then you can map the gates on, off to a button or control on your MIDI controller. And you're off to the races. So thanks for tuning in. I'm Professor Nalepa. We'll be back with another technique very soon.
Welcome to Dubspot. We believe in providing you hands-on experience right away. Whether you're completely new to music and want to turn the sounds in your head into a musical reality, or you're an experienced artist looking to refine your skills and add new tools to your arsenal, we're ready to meet you at your level. For students of all ages, all levels, and all styles of music, Dubspot is here to help you achieve your goals. With course offerings both online wherever you are and at our school in the heart of New York City, we are ready to guide you through the next phase of your musical transformation. Whether you want to produce music, DJ, or do both, you've come to the right place. Come explore Dubspot for yourself, become a part of our community, and make music.